Hi everybody, I'm here parked in the parking lot of Walmart. I thought I'd make a quick video. I was doing a Walmart pickup order, so I usually have to wait quite a while, like 15 minutes or so before they ever come out, because there's just so many people picking up pickup orders at my Walmart. I'm about 30 miles from Walmart, and that's my closest grocery store. And then there are other people that live in different directions. It's more of a rural area, and they all go to the same Walmart. So it's just the same Walmart for this area. And then the closest Walmart aside from this one is about 30 miles from this Walmart. So it's always real packed, but today there wasn't anybody there. So I got my order in the back already, so you won't see them coming, but going to the grocery store and picking up your order, eating, doing errands, that all still happens. For example, today I'm going here to pick up my groceries, which I've picked up. I had to go pick up some medicine, so taking medicine still happens. I mean, all of that stuff still happens. I have to go to the post office. I have some packages I need to mail, and then I need to stop and get a new phone charger because we need an extra one. So all of this stuff still happens. You know, sometimes I hear people talk about that there's the dual world and the non-dual world, and it's all one. There aren't separate worlds, or you aren't doing separate things that other people don't do. You do everything that needs to be done as if you're doing it. It's been seen, and there's the understanding that there is no one here doing this, but there never has been. So nothing changes. That's why I think it's hard for the mind to grasp this. What does happen is like a shift in your perception of about a lot of things, because first of all, there's no one here to really care or grasp it, or any kind of responsibility or anything. I mean, you still have to, there is a responsibility in the sense of, you know, there's cause and effect here. I mean, it's not real, but there is. And for example, if I go commit a crime, I still have to go by the same laws, and, you know, if it is that I go to jail or get arrested or whatnot, whatever the consequence is for everyone, it's the same for me as well. Just because this has been seen doesn't elevate me to some other world. This is all that's happening. So, and it doesn't, there's a sort of change in perception about it. It becomes lighter. So that is true. There is a sense of relaxation with a lot of things. So there is truth in that, and that would have to be a direct experience. You can understand this logically and intellectually and be able to have that at that level. I would call that a belief or an understanding of some kind. But to really experience what I'm talking about, it's more of a direct experience that happens, and it's not something that I can prescribe to you or tell you how. All I can do is give you the descriptions of what's happening, and if this resonates with you, it's probably for a reason. It's probably because this is your path. I mean, you know, some people awaken, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, in different ways. You know, if you do watch other people, for example, I've heard, I'm not exactly sure, I've forgotten, and my memory is kind of bad, but there is different people that have like awakened on just a park bench. Some people because they were suffering, somebody because, you know, they were in a room and all of a sudden a bug crawled on them and they had a perception change. So, I mean, all of these things can happen. There's just no one way. For me, it happened to be the twin flame journey that I didn't even know that I was on. It's just, you just do life, and what happens, happens. If this never happens for you, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's all levels of consciousness and situations that people are going through here on earth, and it's all what's wanting to happen. It's all what's supposed to happen in that case. So there's nothing wrong here. Well, this whole thing of me wanting to make this video, just kind of wanting to talk to someone, it all stems from not what I was just talking about, something else. Well, I guess it all ties in, but I had an argument, and a pretty heated argument, like, you know, yelling. It was pretty heated with my husband. And this has been the first time since my perception changed or shift that I've gotten that angry. I really didn't ever think that that could happen anymore, because I've noticed that everything's a lot lighter for me. I can still get anxiety, I can still get some level of anger, and all of the emotions still happen, but they don't happen so intense, you know, where I blow up. So I had something happen where I felt that I felt it as an injustice. I felt it that that there was no love there. One of the things I've noticed is that if I see acts of love, like in my actual reality, somebody doing something kind for someone else, or it can also be on TV, or, you know, if I hear about it, I will start crying. And I didn't used to be a crier before, but I start crying, and I think that's the recognition of love and the true nature that we are. So as soon as I see something that is showing love, I immediately start crying. And it's just a little bit. It's not like I'm bawling or anything like that. It's just, I will cry. And I never used to cry. I don't think anybody had seen me cry except for my husband. But the same thing happens when I see a lack of love. So when I see, and that does happen actually only in person. So if I see a lack of love, or if I experience someone that's being hurtful or exhibiting some sort of lack of love towards me, I also cry. It just happens. And it's not bawling. It's, again, just a little bit of tears, and then it's moving on from that. But then I can identify that as, oh, you know, it was a lack of love. But with what happened with the argument that I had with my husband was, I was expecting something. I needed help with something, and he didn't follow through the way that I wanted, or I thought, you know, I needed. And it was more of a communication issue. I really should have just said what it was that I needed, but I'd never asked. And then I was very upset when what he provided was something different than what I actually needed. So I blew up, and I got very angry. That whole thing took a lot of energy out of me. But the thing about it is I want to share that these things still happen. The example is that I'm sharing this with you. I've had anxiety. I've had some other things since the shift here and there, but they don't stay long. They just kind of happen, and then they pass. Well, this argument went on for a while, and then even that night, in, not today, but I've had to kind of still process it. So processing things like anger, any kind of conflict, forgiveness, all of those things are still things that occur. We are in this world. There is no separate non-dual world. I've heard people talk about the dual world and the non-dual world as if they're separate places. They aren't separate places. They're the same place. This is it. This is what's happening. What's seen is that there's no one here. It's just one. Everything's one. So there's no one here. That's the only difference. I still have to go to the grocery store. I still have to go to the post office. I still have to see my spouse every day and cook, clean, deal with conflicts, with his emotions, with everything that, you know, had happened even before the perception change. Nothing has actually changed other than this relaxation and kind of a new perception of what this reality is. So I just wanted to share that with you, because I think a lot of people think that this non-duality means that all of a sudden everything changes. You're just elevated to some other consciousness or world, and you don't have to deal with or experience these things. There is still suffering. I did suffer from the argument. There was suffering there. The difference is, for example, that argument happened, I think it was yesterday, and my memory is so bad that, and these things are so light that I don't hang on to them not long enough to even remember when they happened. But I think it happened yesterday. There was still some processing and things. I still hung on to that somehow. That occurred here. And then today it's light. It's gone. I'm not thinking about it anymore, and the issue was resolved to what it was resolved at that time, and that's it. I'm in a different happening today. So that's where the lightness is. It's just that it doesn't hang on to me for me to feel guilty about me having that fight, or the way that I acted. I actually this morning just actually was driving on my way here, and I think that's what sparked me really wanting to talk about this, that I just started laughing, and there's just this like joke, they call it a cosmic joke, and there's just this silliness and just playfulness that comes along with a lot of what's happening. It's funny in the sense that I can like think about what happened in a way of that was just some happening that was wanting to occur. That was what was arising, not for me, not for him. It was just arising. That's what's happening. That's what this is. And it's just funny because there's just so much seriousness, so much passion behind the anger and everything that I exhibited at that time, even while having this new perception. These things still happen. I don't know why they happen. I don't know. People ask, is there someone seeing this? Is there something behind this? I don't know. And I will not know, and it doesn't matter for me to know, because there is no me. There's just one. And even if it mattered, who would it matter to? There's just one. It's just oneness. So for it to matter for someone, or for it to have a purpose or a meaning, there have to be another, it have to be a dual situation. There'd have to be another entity or energy or whatever you want to think of it as. There have to be another. If it's just oneness, it's just playfulness. It's just curiosity. It's just infinity of going through everything that can happen possibly in this form. So there's nothing there that's that serious. So today I just started laughing. I was like, wow, like all of that energy and craziness yesterday, it was just all happening, and it's just all happening for no one. It's just play, like watching a movie or something. Like when you watch a movie, a lot of times I like movies that are dramatic. I like psychological thrillers. I like true stories where people have overcome things, and just all kinds of stuff. I mean, I can like a comedy and things like that as well. So all of that, of me watching those movies and stuff, sometimes I'll put myself in the situation of watching a scary movie, or a movie with a lot of drama like that, like with fighting, or shows, TV shows, and you get so engrossed in watching it that sometimes you even experience the feelings yourself. Like you get scared, you get spooked, or you get worried, or your anxious level goes up. You're not in that movie. That's not you, but you're experiencing it. It's somewhat similar to, it's similar, is what I'm trying to say, is there's a connection. It's just a metaphor for what I'm experiencing. I know there's no one there. When it's all said and done after the fight, I realize there's nothing. This was just happening. Of course, I still have to work through things with my spouse, and there is, still processing and stuff that goes on, but there's just a lot of lightness there. And it can be let go very easily, and there's no guilt or resentment or hanging on to something, just that grumpiness that stays. It just falls apart. It happens, and then it's over with. If it lasts longer for you, then that's how it is. That's what happens. But it's just what's happening, just like a movie. It's what's happening, but when you turn it off, or when it's over, you realize it wasn't real. It was just something that happened, or something that you put yourself to watch, or do. And I've heard it say that this oneness is basically hiding from itself in us with, you know, the ego and all these things to experience all the infinite experiences possible. And I don't know that that's true or not, and I don't really care to know. But it's almost like a metaphor. It can describe something that it feels that way. Do I know that? No. And do I care to know? No, I really don't. Because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that there's no one here doing this. It's just happening. But I get to live and think that I'm doing this and have this physicality in this physical world where things happen, experiences happen, and, you know, I feel very much I'm part of it. I know I'm not part of it, but you have to continue to live in this world. There are a few people that that don't do anything. They just maybe had this realization and they just sit back and maybe don't eat very much or don't take care of themselves. And that's just what's happening there. And those are very rare situations. They don't happen very often. So I'm not sure, you know, if somebody else is experiencing or what they're experiencing. This is just to give some context. This stuff happens, and just to let you know, if you are going through this stuff, that this may happen. It just doesn't mean, oh, I'm back into the dual world or I've left non-duality. You never were in non-duality. You never were in duality. You weren't in anything. You're nothing. So there's nothing to be in. But what we do experience is this human experience. So we experience it as if we are this. And that's what there is. That's the experience, that we are this. So we have to continue living and doing everything as before. We aren't changed in the sense that anything changes in what we need to do. We still have bills. We still have to eat. We still have children to take care of if you have them. We still have a husband or wife or whatever, family. So all of that still continues. And I just wanted to share that with you. I also wanted to bring up a point because my channel is kind of tied a bit. Everything's more non-duality for me now. But essentially this all came from the twin flame journey. And I found so many similarities after the fact of what the twin flame journey shows you or prepares you for. So when I had a fight with my twin flame at one point, and I don't even remember what it was about now, but it was enough that I was pretty angry. I said some things, I got loud, all of that. It was a real fight. And then the next day, and this was before me having that perception, the next day, well, let me back up. So we had the fight, and that night, he told me that he never wanted to hurt me, and he never wanted to see me hurt ever again, and he just basically was beating himself up for having hurt me to even begin with. But, you know, he had some kind of way of always expressing that if he hurt me, he basically wanted to die, because hurting me hurt him so much that he just couldn't bear it. Excuse me. So that was his way of expressing that he was sorry and how much it actually hurts him to hurt me. And that was interesting. I mean, it's tied to non-duality for me, because in the end, like when this is all seen and you have this perception, you really realize there is no one. There's just oneness. So I'm the same as my husband in a way. I mean, it's all one. We're appearing as different characters. We're appearing as different things and arising as different things. But all in all, it's all one. And so for him to have said that hurting me hurt him that much, he was so much in tune with me in that sort of oneness that the twin flame journey talks about. Now, I don't know a whole lot about twin flame because I didn't learn about it until I found non-duality, or until that happened to me. So when that happened, wanting to know about the twin flame journey just wasn't important anymore. but I do know that the twin flames are supposedly, I want to say, the same soul. So when one hurts, the other one would hurt, and it's one. Where, you know, it's now seen that there's no soul. There's none of that, but the oneness is true. So there's some truth in that, and it was experienced in the twin flame journey. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share was the day after I had that fight with my twin flame, right away when I got into the car with him the next day, when we met up, he looked at me, and, you know, that gaze just put me at ease. You know, if you're in the twin flame journey, you know what that is. So I just saw him, probably touched him, and just total relaxation happened because I was in that energy with him. And so I was already, my guard was down. I wasn't angry anymore. Well, he looks at me, and he, not in a mean way, he just kind of like laughs it off that, you know, you were so mad yesterday, you were yelling and all this stuff, and you were so serious, and he kind of not mocked me, but, you know, went over a little bit of some of the stuff I said. She was like, you called me this, and but there was a chuckle after it. There was a lightness about it, and I just started laughing because I was like, wow, you know, all of this happened of me fighting with him, and it was just so silly, you know. And where did that come from? You know, so sometimes we don't even know. This stuff just arises and happens. And why is it happening? I don't know. If you want to believe that oneness is experiencing this, wants to be in this drama or see all these different things, fine, you can believe that. I don't know, and I don't really want to know or care anymore. So it's just what it is. But there's just a lightness in there, and I just wanted to share that happened, and it was quite crazy for me because I didn't really know if that kind of stuff would ever happen again, and apparently it does. So it's a happening I wanted to share with you, and kind of tied it a little bit into the twin flame thing, because even, like I say, even a lot of what I'm experiencing now, it's like it's happened in the twin flame journey in some way, in a different way. I mean, like I said, that you know, people think that there's souls there, but there really isn't. There's just really this oneness. It's always just been what it is. Just because now I had this realization doesn't mean that, you know, that was another reality, or it was true that we were the same souls at that time. No, it's always been what it is. We just have different beliefs and things at different times in our lives. For why we don't know. It's just what happens. I guess it's that way that we have these other beliefs in a way so that those things actually can happen. Because if I look at things now the way that they are, a lot of things that happened in my past just would have never happened with this new realization. There would have been no interest there or anything to cling to do it. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm gonna go do all my errands and all the normal things people do. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I will be posting a new video for the twin flame story this weekend, and I have the urge to do another bus stop happening, so I will do that as well to post this weekend. If you're new here, subscribe to my channel if you want to get notifications and things, or if you want to come back and watch my channel, or the subscription bell if you want to get notifications of when I post new things. Alright, well, thank you for watching.